What's up, guys? So this is my 2017 MacBook Pro 13-inch. Battery in it is bad, so when I'm using the laptop, when it gets down to about 60%, it just shuts down. I ordered this battery off of Amazon probably like 2-3 years ago, and I've been dealing with this issue since I got it. I finally ended up ordering a new battery off of ifixit, so technically it should be the original battery. ifixit sells high quality parts, so I ordered it. It came with the screwdriver that I'm using here, which is the P5. So when I'm removing these screws, I'm keeping them laid out on the table the same area that I'm taking them out of, because the screws in here are different sizes. So make sure you keep that in mind before you attempt to do this repair or even remove the screws. Last thing you want is to damage the casing when you put these screws back into place. After you remove these screws, it is a little difficult removing these cover. So what I did was I put a suction cup right down here at the bottom, and what the suction cup does is it creates a gap, and I put in this pick right here and I just went along. You can hear it pop up. After it pops up and all the clips finally release, what you want to do is take the top of the cover and I pried it down towards me. So I just ended up fast forwarding through this clip because it actually took me a while to get all the clips to release and to be able to pry this cover down. It's hard to tell in the video. Once I actually do pry the cover down, it barely moves. So what I would just do is pull it down. It's kind of hard to. You have to apply a lot of pressure to get it to move towards you, and then just with the suction cup, like, lift up on it and it should release. I'll also mention that ifixit has a whole guide on how to do this written out. So if the video is hard to follow, you can head over to their website and actually follow the step-by-step guide that they have with pictures, which is very helpful. And on their website, they show the size of the screws and all that if you guys need that information. So what I'll do is I'll just leave a link down below to their website with this guide and also the battery to pick it up. This clip is actually fast forward like 20 times, and you can see how long it took me to actually get the casing off. But right here, I finally got it off, and now you can see the internals of the MacBook. So the first thing I'm removing here is the trackpad cable. I'm using the T5 screwdriver, same screwdriver that I used to remove the screws for the casing. There's two of them here. So once you take that off, it's a plate. You just lift up on it, and the actual connector is underneath. Since a lot of these parts are smaller, I recommend tweezers to help you when lifting them up or even putting them back into place, since it's going to be even harder putting these plates and screws back in. But anyways, once you disconnect the cable, I'd use a heat gun to heat up this glue because it is held in with glue, but I already did this job, so it's not as strong as it was originally. So I was able to just on mine pull it back. But you want to be very careful with this because this is the trackpad cable. So this tape I'm pulling up on is actually for the battery connector, battery board data cable. I guess what this does is it shows the health and all that on your MacBook. This cable does have to get transferred to the new battery. Both ends come out. I didn't know this when I first did it, so that's why I left it still attached here. There isn't a locking tab or anything like that. Just pull back on both ends and it just slides right out. Putting it back in will be a little difficult though. I have to use tweezers to get it back into place. So this bigger screw right here is the battery power connector hold down screw. So you just want to remove that. Once you remove that screw, you actually want to lift up on it. This actually disconnects the battery, I believe. It's like a hold down or something like that. These screws right here for the trackpad. When I did this, I ended up taking out the Phillips that are at the top. Those aren't supposed to come out. Leave those still attached. You're just going to take out the T5 screws. Once you got all the screws out for trackpad, you can open the screen out and remove the trackpad so you don't damage it when you remove this battery. So I end up leaving the trackpad in place because I figured that since this battery was replaced already, I didn't have to take out the trackpad since it's not going to be glued in that much. As you can see, I already got both ends out. I didn't replace the glue or anything like that. When I replaced it, I just literally dropped it in. So yeah, I guess you can say me taking out the screws for trackpad was a waste of my time, and I didn't need to do it. If you still have the original battery and your MacBook, and this is your first time doing it, it is going to be glued in there, and it will be difficult getting it out. You're going to have to use a heat gun to heat up that glue, and be careful. I also recommend that the battery is completely dead before you do this job, just in case if you do poke the battery, hopefully it won't catch on fire or anything like that, since it probably will spark if you do put a hole in it. And once the battery's out the way, you can actually see the trackpad and the different things in there that you could mess up if you pry it too far in, and it obviously will damage the trackpad. Now what you can do is the strips of tape that are in here, you can peel those off and clean it. Be honest with you, I just left it on mine. I already knew it wasn't going to mess with anything, and I just peeled off the tape for the new battery and stuck it in. It's holding fine. So the new battery actually came with adhesive already on it. Before you actually push this into place, and it's going to be very hard to lift it back up, make sure the battery's lined up, especially the connector up top, since there's two screws that hold that connector in. So at this point, the battery's already in. Put the connector back into place, and then take this plastic that's covering the battery off. So at this point, I'm just going to put everything back to the way it was. One thing I do want to talk about is when I bought the other battery off of Amazon, it didn't really fix anything. The laptop was still draining quick, and most of the time I had to leave it plugged in on the charger. I was kind of expecting the same thing with this battery from ifixit. I just figured that the laptop was too old now and it's not going to hold a charge, especially since it's updated to the latest version, that maybe Apple messes with the battery or something like that. But I'm recording this video right now on this laptop, and it's still actually holding a charge, actually really good. I didn't show it in this video since most of it was just me trying to take apart and reassemble the battery. But since I already had this apart, I ended up taking some compressed air and just cleaning the inside fan and along the edges where most of the dirt's going to be. You already have it off, so you might as well take the extra time and just clean it out. I'm also going to mention that some of the video of me reassembling it got cut just because the original length of the video is about 35 minutes or so. So I just have to shorten it somehow, and that was the only way I can think of. You guys already seen me take it apart, and there's other videos on YouTube. I'm kind of late to this, and like I said, I also put a link down below to ifixit's article. Pretty much done reassembling it. All I'm doing now is putting the two screws in that hold the trackpad cable into place. Putting the cover back on actually went a lot easier than removing it. So all I did was I pretty much laid it where it's supposed to be, and I kind of like pushed down on it as I'm prying it up towards the top of the laptop. It actually went into place, and I was able to get the screws in to hold it down. So off of ifixit's website, this is technically how you're supposed to calibrate the battery. You charge it to 100% and keep it charged for at least 2 or more hours. Then you're just going to use a laptop until it shuts off, and then charge it again up to 100% without unplugging it. And this should calibrate the battery, and after that you should be all good.